Well, hello everybody and welcome back to Lisa's Coloring Corner. Arteza sent me another product. This is not a new product. It is their 6th set of water brushes. And I thought we would try these out, put them to use with their set of watercolor pencils. And we would do some coloring in a book that many of us have these types of books. So I wanted to see how the watercolor pencils with these water brushes worked in a Creative Haven book. So we're going to try coloring some in this Flower Mandalas book with the watercolor pencils and these water brushes. So let's get these out. Each of the brushes have a different tip to them, which is nice. Depending upon, what size of an area you are coloring in. Now, the thing that's nice about these brushes, and I know I have a Caran d'Ache one that's real similar to this, is when you look at these, they look a little bit different than your typical, say, Pentel water brush, or what's the one that I use a lot of? The Derwent. I have the set of 3 Derwents. You have this push button here. And that is what makes the water come out. Also, when you fill these, now this one is the largest, and you can see how big of a brush this thing has. So this is great for backgrounds, okay? And to open or to fill these, you don't have to suck anything up. You just open them up, fill them up, pop them closed, and then you will push to get water out. Okay, so this is the largest size one. Now the thing, especially with the bigger ones, but any of them, you always want to be careful when you put them back in the caps so that you don't bend your bristles out. I'm not sure if they state a size on each. No, they don't. Okay, so again, that is your largest one. Then the next size is another brush one like that. Whoops, opened the wrong thing. Okay, wait a minute. This is the biggest one. So we have 2 really large sized brushes. Again, great for backgrounds, or if you're just putting a wash down and then you're going to be going over it with pencils. These wide ones come in really handy. And then we're going to just keep going down in size. So this is a really nice cover all your bases type of water brush set. Here is another one that does not come to a peak. It is another broad brush, but much thinner than the previous 2. And the next size would be this one. Now these are the ones that come to the tip. And when you first open these, they're very stiff. You have to kind of soften them up a little. But these next 3, these first 3 are the flat tipped bristles, brushes I should say. These come to a point. Now this one's the largest of the 3. Then the mid-size, again, real stiff to begin with. Just soften it up a little bit. And then we have the fine tip, which is very teeny. So this is your detailer. Again, stiff until you soften it up a little bit. Okay. So I think what I'm going to go do, I'm going to go and I'm going to fill up all 6 of these. Okay, and I will be right back. We're just going to do a little bit of playing. Won't be using all of these on the particular picture, but we're going to swatch just out on some cardstock. We're going to swatch some of these colors out and we're going to test out the different sizes. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I have all of my water brushes filled up over here. We are just going to get a sheet of cardstock. Now this is not watercolor paper. It's not going to react like watercolor paper. We're just going to put some color down, see how each of these brushes, maybe some of the purposes that you can use for each. So I'm going to get the widest one out. first, which would be this one. Let's just put down, oh, I don't know, some blue maybe. We're just gonna color out some blue. And we're going to bring that out with the big water brush. Always have your paper towel, or, you know, some people use like an old rag. You know, get your water going. Let's zoom in a little bit. So here is your great big water brush. We'll just squeeze a little bit of water out. And yeah, because this is cardstock, this is not going to feather out too well. I guess this was not a good one to pick for this. But you can kind of just see, you know, with the size of these brushes. And as you use these, as you can see, they are going to stain a little bit because the bristles on here are white. Does not mean that they're dirty though. If you just, you know, squeeze some of the water out, brush it off on your paper towel and stuff, you won't have the color in here, but the bristles will discolor. Again, make sure when you put it back in the cap, you're not bending any of your bristles. Okay, the next size was this size. Let's take a purple. And again, on this cardstock, this is really, you know, smooth kind of cardstock, and it's not going to work real well for these watercolor pencils. But again, these would be great for your backgrounds if you were doing washes. And maybe you would take, I have the Caran d'Ache palette that has a real smooth side on one side and a little bit rougher on the other. These would be great for washes on the background if you scribbled pencil on there, picked them up with the water brush, and then did your background with the wash. These wide ones would work great for that. I just don't have that palette over here. Okay, so that is the second size. Then our third of the flat-topped, I don't know what the proper name for them are. I know the angle brush, but that's about all I know. Let's go into a green. Let's just pick this one. Oh yeah, I was going to do this. Yeah, that wouldn't work too good, would it? Okay, so again, squeeze. I do like, actually, the water comes out of these better than mine Caran d'Ache that is similar to this. Again, not going to move real well on this paper, but you can see again the size. Let's wash it off over here. This one I think would come in real handy for going around, you know, not your teeny tiny details. Of course you wouldn't use that one, but then let's go for the pointy tipped ones. And let's go in with a dark green. So we'll see how these pencils work in the Creative Haven. I have not worked with these at all yet, so this is not any fault of the pencils or the water brushes themselves. This is the paper and me. I am not a big watercolorist, but again, I just wanted to show you how these operate and the different size tips. Then we have the second smallest pointy tip. Let's get a pink color. Whoops. Ooh, that wasn't good. Use a kind of a pinky purple. Okay, so this is your second smallest tip. So you'd be able to get into, you know, a little bit finer detail. Okay, but now your real fine details, of course, you're going to be using this smallest one, and this one is a very tiny tipped water brush. Let's get a orange out. Okay, so this is your very fine detailer type of pen, water brush, I should say. And this is probably, between this and the previous one, is probably the most common in our coloring anyhow of the water brushes that are used, because we do get into so much, you know, detail in our coloring. So this one is really nice. I can see this one, and like I said, the previous size one being used an awful lot. Okay, so that is the different size tips. Let's go to the coloring book itself. Now, like I said, I'm not sure exactly how the pencils are gonna, you know, the watercolor pencils are gonna work on this paper. I guess we'll find out. I have not gessoed this. Some people use clear gesso. If they really want to use watercolor nicely, it really works great if you clear gesso your page first. I have not. So again, we'll see how this works. Let's see, was it this one? No, it was this one with the hibiscus. Okay, now I have not, I know, shock, have not completed my watercolor color chart yet for Arteza, but the nice thing about Arteza is all their products kind of cross over from medium to medium. So their line of watercolor pencils, all of the pencil names and numbers are identical to their expert colored pencils. So I just got out my color chart for the colored pencils, and I know that these colors will coincide with the watercolor pencils also. I just want to make a separate watercolor chart, color it in and bring it out a little bit with the watercolor water brush, so I know exactly what it's going to look like when it's watered down a little bit, give me a better idea. So I'm going to use this color chart to pick out some colors. Let's just try one of the hibiscus flowers here. And I'm going to use 3 different colors in a petal. So let's take Venetian red for, let's see, no, maybe rose red for the darkest. 001. Where is that one? Okay. Okay, so we have 001, rose red. Let's then go to, and I'm just going to make little steps. I'm not going to make real drastic changes. Let's go down to vermilion, 051. And then let's go pale with coral, 046. Okay, so these are the 3 colors we're going to use. I have not sharpened these yet, so they still have the blunt tips to them, and I do not have a sharpener on my desk, so we're going to work with them like this. All right, and I am going to use, because we're in a little bit smaller of an area, I am going to use that smallest water brush that we just looked at. So let's lay in a little bit of the darkest color down here at the base. Feather it up a little bit. We'll go in with the medium color. And then we'll go in with the lightest up here at the tip. Okay, and we'll see what that blends out like. Kind of looks pretty already, huh? Let's zoom in a little. Move my pencils out of the way. Oh, I do like those 3 colors together. Okay. Let's start. You always want to start with the lightest color first so that you don't pull all your dark colors into the light, and work your way down to the darkest. And these watercolor pencils do work on this paper rather nicely. There. Oh, isn't that pretty? I like that. Let's do the petal over here. The nice thing about watercolored pencils, let's see, it goes all the way over here. You don't have to be super picky about how you lay down the colors. It doesn't really matter because you're going to be spreading it out with water anyhow, so you don't have to do super great blending. You know, you don't have to have any special techniques as far as blending or anything, because your water is going to blend the colors together. Now, I really should have these sharpened because of these flat tops. I didn't even think of that when I was thinking about making this video. Okay, so make sure your water brush is rinsed out. Again, starting with your light color. Oh, these pencils work beautifully on this paper. And work down to the dark. Pretty, huh? Let's try one more, and let's try the next size up water brush. Okay, so let's try one more here. Dark color. Again, just kind of doing this quickly. Just scribbling this in because, again, I don't have these sharpened properly. I apologize. Was not thinking ahead. But we will make it work. Okay, so this is going to be the mid-size, starting with the light. Now with something this large of an area, you could go in, matter of fact, it's easier going in with a little bit of a bigger. I probably have a little too much water on there. I'm used to my other brushes where I had so many problems trying to get the water to come out. These come out really nice. The water comes out, so I'm gonna have to get used to that about not squeezing them so much. Because let's put a little bit more color down at the base. A little bit of the orange. We'll just finish up this flower. We'll do a little bit of the green then in a leaf. So I guess this is a little bit of a review between the brushes and the pencils. Here we go with light color. Going down into the dark. Okay, and one more. Because of the tip, I'm just going around in circles, make it as smooth as I can. And then the water. Okay, I like how that's turning out. What do you think? Okay, so let's just quickly, let me leave those out so I remember what colors I'm using. Let's do a leaf, and then we'll call it good for this video. So let's do something a little dark. Let's maybe go with Jungle Green, which is 141. Pardon my arm as I go up here. 141. We'll go from that to Basil Green, 093. And then we're going to, I think we're going to go to a light, but I don't want to go to like a spring type green. I want to keep the leaf a little dark looking. So I think we'll go to 092 Fern Green. 092. Where is my 092? There it is. Okay, so we are going to start with the Jungle Green. And we're just going to go same as the flowers. We're going to go the base being the darkest. And then we'll go in with the next lightest, which was the Basil, right? Yes. Okay, put in some of that. Again, just going in squiggles for now. And then the lightest, which is Fern. And I am doing this very quickly. This video is getting a little long, longer than I had anticipated. I'm going to use this, not the teeny tiny one, the one that's one size up. And again, start with the light. Do the lightest color first. Go into the mid. Kind of blend that together and into the dark. Okay. All right, yeah. I think that's looking nice. Okay, so again, that is, you know, I just wanted to show you a little bit about the different tips, how they worked with the Arteza colored pencils. Now, you know, the same is true no matter what watercolor medium you are working with, whether it is a watercolor pencil, you know, the Inktense, the Albert Dürer, maybe you're using the Neocolor 2s, the Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2s. Maybe you're working with regular watercolor pans, you know, little pans of watercolors. You know, the thought process behind it is the exact same thing. I know many of you are very familiar with this. This is just real basic, and it's for people that are maybe just going to be start dabbling into some watercoloring type of medium. So that's kind of why I did all this, is not for those of you who are very familiar with water brushes. This is just, you know, you guys are all very familiar with this. This is for some of those that are maybe just starting out coloring and wanted to see what watercoloring mediums, watercolor brushes were like. So I just thought I'd go into it a little bit more. So I hope you enjoyed seeing this little sampling of using all the different tips in this watercolor brush set. I really like these. I like the fact that the water comes out nicely. Like I said with my other ones, I was having a problem with the water coming out. These were actually getting almost too wet at times, and again, that probably was user error and not the water brush, not its fault, more my fault. Again, just because I've been very unfamiliar, I haven't worked with watercoloring mediums in a while, so I'm sure it's user error and not the brushes. And I do have to wipe them off more often. I was not wiping off in between. It's a good idea to do that too. So But I thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed just this little demo between the watercolor pencils from Arteza and then the Arteza watercolor brushes or water brushes. I will link this all down below. I will link this case too. I don't know if you were aware. Let me zoom back out. Arteza did come out with a couple of different pencil cases. This is called Splatter Paint or just Splatter. Then they do have a black and white one, and I do want to get one of those too for a different Arteza product that I have. These are really nice, and you can fit a lot of pencils in here. You can also, and that's why I like these, where you can fit, there's a lot of pencil cases out there where you can fit 3 pencils in each loop. But because these are bigger, you can use these for fine liners and the twine markers and all of those too. So that's one nice thing about having these larger loops, because if you have just those single loop pencil cases, sometimes they don't fit your a little bit larger, you know, coloring mediums that are bigger than a pencil, you know, your fine liners and whatnot. Especially because of the caps. It might not be barrel size, but it's because of the caps on top that you can't fit them tight together. So these pencil cases work great for that too. And then I just make a handy dandy label so I know what's in each case. So I will link everything down below. They are Amazon. They are Arteza affiliate links, meaning if you do purchase through those links, I get a little bit of a kickback from Arteza, which goes directly back into the channel. So I thank you in advance if you do use those links. It is much appreciated. So yes, thank you again for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you are new to my channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you know when I put out new videos. I hope everybody's having a great day, and as always, happy coloring. Bye guys.